I love sports radio. I love talk radio. That's you mentioned, Bet David. Like I like his show. Not that I'm not interested in all of the topics that he talks about, but I like how he kind of has this talk show vibe. And I like that more than the interview style podcast. I'm never been a huge fan of the interview style podcast,
Yeah.
but I would love I would watch it if someone created it, but I don't think it's out there. And so I would love to one day create what Pat McAfee has done, but for business, right? Like, or just, and there's a lot of radio shows that are like that, talk shows in the morning, sports radio, whatever. But I like what Pat McAfee has done in particular, where it's him and then there's these people that are on the team, like his crew, and they're talking about topics they're interested in. They're asking each other questions. They're talking about current events. And then they're bringing people in for segments and doing that. And I love, the reason that I haven't tried to do this yet is because you're making the commitment to doing this every day. To me, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, this would be, if I can figure it out, this is something I would do when Paige goes to school.
Right.
When I know that I can drop the kids off at school and do that every day. But I love the idea of having like a daily show, with people, and then I can bring you on, I can bring Chris on, I can bring in whoever, and you can do the interviews, and it can be a longer interview, or it can be a segment. But also having the personalities in the room so it can be fun. Like I think, when you and I, when we have a team meeting, like we did the other day, and we've got everybody in there, Hudson's in there and Robert's in there and Alicia's in there, and we're just like dying laughing, like I want to bring that element, but in the online business world. To me, that would be the ideal show. And I think that if I could figure that out and find the people and like figure out a way to do it, I'm like, that's something that I could do my whole life. And if I just made enough money to pay the bills, like I would just be super happy doing that. That's like the closest I've come to like an idea of like a dream job, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know, who would those people be? And I need to pay better attention to the, what do you want to call it? Not the trends, but like this current events and things like that.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you kind of like, you had your dream show and kind of like dream job wrapped up into one thing, which is really interesting. I don't know if I have that, because honestly, like my dream, like I really enjoyed, like as as difficult and stressful as it is sometimes, I really enjoy like growing teams, and like I'm really enjoying like growing a larger company, and something about that. I'm sure that there's like a point of no return where like your company gets too big to where it's like, oh, I've created this monster and now it's like eating me alive. But I actually really like that. And like when I see like Marco, we had him on the show, he tweets a lot about like, he's kind of anti that. He's like, lifestyle business and all that kind of stuff. 100%. And I see that stuff and I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in that at all. Like, because I've lived that life, and it's
the one person business is like, that is the culture on Twitter.
It is. And it's interesting. And maybe my perspective is a little different, not than yours, but like than a lot of people, just because like I lived that life. Like I was a blogger, I was making $100,000 a year, and I was working in coffee shops, and it was great for like 2 years, and then it just becomes so like lonely and monotonous. I was actually talking to the team about this the other day. It's like online work is awesome, but like all of us kind of have an itch to like have a physical location too, because of the people thing. And so it's like when people are really out there like heavily promoting like this is the way, like solo business, solopreneur, one person business, like this is the best lifestyle and all that. It's like it could be for some people, but it's not as great. Like nothing is as great as it seems. Like it's always a balance. And so anyway, so I don't have anything that like where I just want to do like content. But if I did do something, I really want to do like a long form interview style. Kind of like, honestly, like I love what Joe Rogan does, but like an hour less, or like I would like to keep it to an hour. But I really want to just bring on like my personal finance friends that I've known throughout the years and like business people, and not even like really like ask them a lot of questions. I just kind of want to like talk to them and record it and just, I don't know,
See what
ask for
happens.
advice and stuff. Like I've had so many like really interesting conversations. Like my favorite thing to do is like just ask people for like their advice, that are successful people. Like there was a guy that I played golf with in Arizona on the last golf trip I went on. And this dude, he looked like, well, one, he was smoking weed, like, which just doesn't happen very often on a golf course. But like we got to like the third hole and this dude was like, he pulled out weed, he was smoking. He's like, yeah, this is why I moved to Arizona, which I didn't even know it was legal there. And and this guy was, you would never have thought that this was like a successful guy. But then he starts talking and he's like, he owns like millions and millions and millions of dollars of farmland, like farm real estate. And he was telling me about like he bought thousands and thousands of acres back when it was like extremely cheap in Idaho. And now like the price multiplied by some insane number. So he just is like crazy wealthy. And he plays golf every day and he's just retired. And I was like, I just really loved talking to him and just asking. I was like, so what should I do? And he's like, you need to take risk. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you have to push yourself. If you really want to be like very successful, you have to really push yourself and take way more risk than you're comfortable with. And not like financial risk, but just that thing that you think is really scary. Like he was like, you have to do that. Cause he's like, you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you don't.
Yeah.
And then he was like, the second thing, diversify, it's just like standard advice, but like, it was so powerful. Like just hearing his story and the way that he did it and then him telling me that, like, I want to talk to people like that and just record those conversations and like, just be like the curious student or, whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
I just want to do that.
Curious student.
But like for an hour, like I don't want to do 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I think to me, like the thing with the interview stuff is the research and the scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, which you would have it with what I'm talking about too, right?
Yeah.
But you have the people and stuff. And that goes to like what you said too about the one person business. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with not having somebody that you could delegate some tasks to and at least one person.
Yeah.
Which, no, that's interesting, man. It's interesting.